And we are continuing to follow the breaking news this morning of the Pope's passing at the age of 88. So we're revisiting his life and his legacy, including the visit to our city in 2015, which was a huge deal.
Absolutely. And PHL 17's Jennifer Lewis Hall co-anchored our coverage of that visit. We're checking in with her now to sort of recall that day. Jennifer, good morning.
Good morning. You know, I want to say this is a day, of course, that is very solemn, but it's also a day of tremendous remembrance.
Absolutely.
2015, this city was abuzz. It took weeks and months of planning when the Pope came here in September of that year.
Yeah.
This was a 2-day visit. Over 1 million people were here. And really, when you think about that, you say to yourself, the way that it impacted the city was so tremendous.
Yeah.
So I think that, you know, I was on the risers there in front of the Basilica with media from around the world, and we were waiting for the Pope from overnight, mind you.
Okay.
7 hours there.
Wow.
You know, the city was cordoned off. If you were in that parameter, that was it. And so I think about that anticipation and the famous Fiat that the Pope drove in, the Fiat 500L, and it came off of the Ben Franklin Parkway, and the crowd erupted at that time. And it was such a feeling. It was so emotional. People were crying. People were ecstatic. This was a big deal. This was his visit to the United States, and 2 to 3 of those days would be here in Philadelphia. Mass celebrated inside the Basilica on the Ben Franklin Parkway. So it's something that, you know, I think I certainly will never forget, being able to cover that, and then him turning around on the steps and waving, waving, waving to everyone. So everyone taking that big breath.
Oh my goodness, so many things happened just within that 2-day period that you are remembering from that 2015 visit. But what do you think stood out to you the most about the Pope himself?
His humility.
Okay.
I remember, you know, of course, you know, being at our anchor desks and doing the special programming, but also being there in the field and seeing him, you know, kissing those babies, waving. I feel like there was always kind of a gleam in his eye for the crowd and the public, and they actually reacted to that energy.
Yeah.
You know, every Pope is different, and to be able to cover a Pope is really something special. And it's not just an event for our Catholic community. I felt like that was what was unique about it. It was exciting for the city.
Historic.
It was historic.
Right.
And this coincided with the World Meeting of Families, so that was a big emphasis. But you see people's energy. It was a time too when it's often said, you know, this wasn't someone that we love our stars out there and our actors and actresses, but this was big. For many people, this was the pinnacle for them, and they waited their entire lives. And I think it might have been even hard to contain this Pope, because when we did stories on security, what would he do? That was the interesting thing. Would he get out of the Pope Mobile? He's out of the Pope Mobile, as you're remembering there, and you're seeing. Would he be so close to the public that he would be hard to contain?
Right.
And that was also an issue, because they were saying, how do we protect this pontiff?
Right.
Because he is the people's Pope.
Wow.
And the impact he had just on those 2 days, I mean, obviously for you as a journalist, a huge moment, but then for the emotional connection that people have to him, he was only here for 48 hours. But here, you know, it's 2025, and we're
Yes.
talking about it as if it was yesterday.
I think we are, and I think the significance of that is its impact. And we think about the difference, right, in those years, the 10 years we're talking about here, and how people feel, and the feeling that this gave them, and what the meaning of that was. His message on immigration, compassion, empathy, seeing yourself as someone else. Those are things that resonate with people now, I think, more than ever, because we have a society and a community where we're trying to find that balance again. You know, I am you and you are me. And that was the Pope's message to me, is that, you know, you need to see yourself in someone else.
Right. So is that, I mean, you named off so many different things that the Pope represented. What would you say is the standout point of what people should remember most about this Pope?
That he was a Pope of the people, but that he was also, I'm going to say with all respect, progressive in his thinking, that he talked about women, he talked about other aspects of our community, and acknowledging people and giving them an opportunity to be who they truly believe they are, and to see them as that, and to honor them. What a beautiful way to live. That's not only for a Catholic religion or a Baptist religion, that's humanity. And that's what I think we'll reflect on with this Pope.
That's a good point.
Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for your insight.
Yes.
We loved having you here.
Oh, and I love being with you.